Yo, what's up, guys? Milan have themselves a new striker, signing Niclas Füllkrug from West Ham United on a 6-month loan deal with an option to buy for 13 million euros in June, guys. Füllkrug will be making 1.5 million euros until June, guys. So, how are we feeling of the signing of Niclas Füllkrug till June, guys? Now, obviously, this signing needed to happen, of course, guys, due to the surgery of Santi Jimenez having ankle surgery. Will be out till at least February. Milan were in absolute dire need of another striker, of course, guys, because, Milan are obviously very thin up top with just Leao, Pulisic, Niclas, and Jimenez obviously being out, like I mentioned. But Leao and Pulisic, health-wise, have not been fully fit this year. Nkunku's had some knocks himself. So this was a necessity for Milan, guys, to go and get themselves another striker. Now, listen, I understand that this isn't the most sexiest grab. This isn't the best purchase option. This isn't the most wanted player out there that a lot of Milan fans wanted. Of course, listen, I totally understand. Füllkrug's only played 8 games for West Ham this year. He has 0 goals. It has been a very disappointing year and a half for him at West Ham. Not very productive for the club, guys. At West Ham, he's only played 28 games and scored 3 goals. To me, that's not good enough, of course. But listen, West Ham are dog shit. They're one of the bottom clubs in the Premier League. They're not a very good squad. They do not have players like Leao, Pulisic, Modric, Rabiot, to name a few guys there. This guy here is joining a team that obviously has a lot more creative players. There's a lot more creative players. Not only that, just a lot more talent in the squad. So I know for a fact that he's coming to a way better team, of course. And this guy here, he's a pure number 9. He's a poacher. He's known for his goals. Listen, at Dortmund, he had a good 1 year at Dortmund, okay? In 43 appearances for Dortmund, he had 15 goals. Listen, that's not horrible, okay? That's actually pretty good. So for a guy like him, who's just a pure poacher and who just needs to get in the box and find a way to get goals on the back of the net, that's all we need this man to do. At Werder Bremen, he had a really good career at Werder Bremen from 2019 to 23. He had 124 appearances at Werder Bremen with 49 goals. That's pretty good, okay? That's not horrible. That's not amazing. But it's pretty decent, And like I'm saying, guys, with the players that he's joining, I don't see why this guy here can't help Milan get a few goals and pot a few goals, And I think it's more suitable to have a guy of his characteristics in the team. Because say Leao's playing in the game and Füllkrug's in the game. Füllkrug could focus on playing inside the box, finding a way to find open space in there. And Leao can drift wide, create, cross the ball in. He can do a lot more things that give him more freedom, Leao, when you got a guy like Füllkrug in the lineup. We saw that a little bit with Santi Jimenez. When he was playing, Leao had a little bit more freedom to run around the outside of the box, cross, dribble one-on-one against an opponent. So I feel getting a guy like Füllkrug is obviously suitable, of course. Now, like I said, it's not the sexiest pick. It's not everybody's favorite choice. Milan's management deserves a lot of criticism, of course, because once again, they are scrambling to find another striker. You spent 40 million on Nkunku, where there's already some rumors that Milan are willing to drop him in January, willing to sell him and willing to get rid of him. So that is just very, very frustrating as a Milan fan to be hearing this type of shit. You see Nkunku that you spent all this money on, and now 6 months later you want to offload him. You did the same thing last January. You spent 35 million on Santi Jimenez, and now you want to offload him. You wanted to offload him in January, but due to the surgery, you can't offload him till June. So 75 million euros on 2 strikers that Milan want to dump. It's just horrible organizational planning by the club. And, this is why they get criticized for what they do as a club. Just not making the right investments and the right purchases when they have to. And now you're scrambling and you have to go and sign a guy like Füllkrug on loan for the rest of the year because you didn't properly plan for the season. Now, obviously, I know we're playing once a week, but it's just not good enough by Milan's management. That jackass Fulani, Tade obviously had a hand in the Nkunku sale or the Nkunku transfer, of course. So there are a lot of people to blame for why this club is where they are and what they're doing with the money, guys. But at the same time, though, listen, Milan they had to get another guy in here. This is the exact reason why they had to do what they had to do. There is a lot of frustrations, obviously, with how this management operates. But I will say this, I am very frustrated as well. They did not sign Thiago Silva. He obviously went to Porto. Milan need to look for another center back. But another thing I will mention, I like where Max Allegri's head at, where his head at regarding the striker position, okay? Now, there was some reports that Max Allegri wanted Milan to go get Moise Kean from Fiorentina. Now, that move right there is a move that I'm making in June. I don't care what the fee is. Regardless if Kean has a 60 million euro release clause kicking in June, I don't give a shit. Milan has to seriously consider that if Füllkrug does not pan out for this club for 6 months, you have to go all in for a guy like Moise Kean. That's just my opinion. I think he's proven himself to be a lethal striker. Him and Leao are very good friends. I think they would form a very, very lethal partnership up top for Max Allegri. Now, obviously, I'm just thinking a little bit ahead, of course, but that's what I've been hearing. Allegri wanted Kean, but of course, Milan's manager says, we're not spending money in January. We're not buying anybody unless we sell. We're gonna loan players in, and we're gonna buy young talent like Arizala, the young Colombian kid that Milan had grabbed. There's obviously some other talk of them grabbing a young striker as well. So they're moving a little bit in the market for younger players, but only for the first team. They're gonna get guys on loan or guys that are very, very, very cheap. So there are obviously some frustrations how this Milan management operates. I've been saying it for the last year and a half, 2 years. So we know that this Milan's management are very incompetent at times. You know, you can see it when you have to sign Füllkrug, the way they had to sign him. You know, the way the striker position has really had some issues this year with Leao and Pulisic and Nkunku and Jimenez all having injuries at one point in this season, guys, the first 6 months. So it's been very frustrating. But listen, we are in second place, only a point behind Inter. I understand the Super Cup was a disappointment. Coppa Italia was a disappointment. You only have to prioritize Serie A now. Füllkrug's in the team now. Listen, I'm going to support him. I wish him all the best. He's probably going to take the number 9 shirt. I hope to God that he pans out for this club, because if he does, 13 million euros is a pretty cheap deal. And if Milan do make top 4, they're going to be in Champions League. You're going to need depth at the striker position. Füllkrug's 32 years old. He's not old, but he's not young, obviously, even though I just turned 32. Jesus, Murphy. I know I'm going to call myself phone off for Christ's sake. So, at the end of the day, guys, this is a decent move. Not a horrible move. Not the best move. But it's a move Milan needed to make, guys. And I felt it was necessary. Now, let's hope to God that Milan does go get themselves another defender, because it doesn't look like Gabbia's going to be back for the game against Verona on the 28th, guys. So, looks like Coney De Winter's probably going to start again, unfortunately. Füllkrug's probably going to play in the first game against Cagliari of the new year on January 2nd, guys. That's when I expect him to play. Wouldn't be shocked if he start. But with Leao coming back into the lineup, it looks like him and Pulisic probably will start up, barring any injuries. Of course, obviously, knock on wood there, of course. I don't want nothing happening to those two guys. They've barely played with each other this year. So let's hope to God Füllkrug comes into Milan, guys. Let's hope he has a successful 6 months. Let's see if Milan does buy him at the end of the year. It was a necessary move for not only the club, but also the player. He just had a horrendous stint at West Ham United, guys. Obviously, he had great stints in Germany, like I mentioned, but this is Serie A. We can see the struggles Nkunku has. He dominated in Germany, struggled in the Premier League as well as Füllkrug, but let's give Füllkrug a chance, guys. Let's see how he does. Let's see if he can get used to Allegri's tactics. Let's see if he can finally get a number 9 in here that can provide Milan with some goals, guys. So tell me your thoughts and opinions on this transfer, guys. So click like this video. Subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Forza Milan sempre as always, guys. And one more thing, guys. I just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, guys, to you and yours. Thank you very much for watching as always, guys. If you don't watch sports, you're a mort. Ciao, guys.